Welcome to episode 92 of SeerNova Podcast.
I do love that intro.
Yeah. Someone else said that like a while ago. That's I think it was Brett from Indie Comics Dispatch. It's like, where did you get that? I'm like, I didn't even really make that. I found it on like a website, and all we do is add our logo.
Damn.
Yeah. I actually want one that's I have one for the Nova Files podcast that you do, but I kind of want to have like a little more some video thing that you guys can do. Maybe if I like piece different episodes together and then make it look cool. But
which reminds me, like we got all of our Nova files in for the year, but just there's so many things that we can talk about this year. I feel at the end of this year, there's been a plethora of like geek-related content that has come out.
yeah.
You got like these What If series. You actually got new movies. Apparently, The Eternals sucked, so that's worth talking about.
Actually, I heard that it was really good. So
I've been hearing nothing but bad things. Like I don't know.
I'm hearing it like it's kind of slow, but it's actually really good. And there's a certain thing that's connected to it that's big. So.
Oh, because what is not connected with the Marvel universe that's big?
Oh, but it's yeah.
Yeah. What else? What was it there? This new series on Netflix came out that's actually pretty good, and I mean like legitimately good. And I won't go in depth on it, but it's like that League of Legends cartoon, Arcane. Have either of you seen it?
No.
I saw stuff for it. Art looks cool.
Yo, I'm legitimately surprised with how good it is. Like, as I like to refer to myself as an avid consumer of media. And when you've seen enough things, you start seeing the patterns. You start seeing, oh, I know where this is going. This is so stereotypical. This is this. Oh my God, why is everyone's brain turned off? But then you actually sit down and watch Arcane, and it feels like, oh my God, somebody put effort into this. Like legitimate, like visuals always look great with whatever you watch. The visuals are always good, but 90 to 80% of the time, the story is shit to mediocre. And yeah. I feel like I'm giving this high praise. It's just that I'm watching something with amazing visuals and like somebody sat down, they got a good writer, sat down, or a team of writers, and they built something really good. Yeah. I'm surprised. It's like I've been eating shit for a while and I finally have a good meal and I'm like, wow, this is surprising. Yeah.
Soup's good.
Which is also something you can say about all of our indie books. Have you been reading a bunch of crap for the longest time? Come read our books. You'll get a nice surprise. It's like a cheeseburger.
Instead of a shit sandwich.
There you go.
Yeah.
So there's not that many people that watch or listen to this, but if you are one of those people, I like Easter eggs, and actually, if you read the second issue of Seer Chronicles, I just shipped out the Kickstarter rewards finally after like a year. Still waiting on the issue 1 to be finished, but Luke is actually working on that right now because he asked me a question like a little while ago, like when the person punches John in the face, do you want like him to feel it? And I'm like, or do you want it to be like Luke Cage and he just doesn't feel it at all? I'm like, oh my God, that'd be hilarious. But no, I want him to kind of still feel it because he has like a rock skin under his skin. So I'm like, oh yeah, I still want him to kind of feel it because I want him to be like immortal. Basically, that would be like annoying. That's why I don't like Superman.
We'll talk about Superman later, but like, how do I put this? We'll talk about what's going on with Superman and all. Like, apparently they made Superman be Superman's son is now Superman because they don't want to pay royalties to the original holders of the Superman title. Oh. You thought I was going to talk about something else, didn't you?
Yeah, you were.
Yeah.
I think you did in Nova Files. Yeah. So if you want to watch that.
Yeah. Well, that'll definitely be a topic for later in Nova Files. But I will say this though, like you saying like the punch in the face, it just made me think, oh man, we should add that as a Kickstarter goal. You put enough money, you get to punch somebody, you get to punch the writer in the face just for shits and giggles. You put down $2,000, punch me in the face.
Hey, if somebody gave me a whole lot of money, I'd be like, go for it.
I tortured myself on a Kickstarter that didn't fund, so you know how that feels.
It's like, fuck it, $2,000, you get to punch me in the face. Do it.
Well, for I think we had to hit like 2,000 or 3,000, and then I did like shots of hot sauce. That was like torture. I don't like that. So, but yeah, so I did that, and we didn't even fund. So that's kind of what was really annoying about that whole situation. I'm not doing that for this Kickstarter that's coming up. That's actually out now. If you actually go on Kickstarter right now, Chronicles of Horror 2. But
what you do is you literally put it like, if your Kickstarter is 5,000, I'll do this.
If we hit it,
one backer is like, you want to see me get kicked in the nuts? $5,000. You pay for the whole thing.
There was another one that was if we got to 4,500, we were very close, but like it wasn't going to fund, so I wasn't going to do it anyway. But like if we got to 4,500 and it did fund, I was going to eat pumpkin pie because I don't like pumpkin pie. I like pumpkin like other things. You don't think it's torture, but for me, it's torture. And then there's what's the other thing? Jason Webb. He's the writer on 2 of the stories that are in Chronicles of Horror. He's like, "Oh, would you guys get like a tattoo?" I was like, "Of what?" And he's just like the logo or whatever. And then Hector's like, "Oh, I'll be down with that because it's his logo that he made, so he would have something that he made on him." Oh yeah, that'd be kind of cool. I'm like, I don't know where I would put that because this arm is full, but this arm is already got plans. And
to be fair, having that if you pay this much money, I'll get a tattoo of this. That doesn't mean as much to you because you're used to getting tattoos. You like having tattoos. Me, like I'm bare. I'm bare. Okay, I'm bare.
Oh yeah. And all 3 of us that were gonna do it. It was mostly just like, if it funds, we were gonna just do it. But like
that's okay.
All
like
3 of us like have tattoos. Jason has tattoos. Hector has tattoos, and of course I have tattoos.
Yeah, I remember hearing that the original like Avengers cast, they all got the Avengers A as a thing together.
Suicide Squad. I think Margot Robbie was tattooing people. Yeah,
if it works, it works.
The original one, like the shit version.
I should tell you about the
non-air cut, which should never happen. But
I should tell you about this idea I have for tattoos in my story. It's I've been working on something called Demon Ink Tattoos, and they're going to be in my new series. So that's going to be really fun. Actually, Abel's been drawing a few fun designs for those, but that'll be something for later.
That's cool.
Yeah. Is that for next year?
What? Was it?
Oh, I was wondering if that was for Peter's next year.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Work.
That's gonna be for next year. But you know what, Josh? What have you been working on, man? What have you been doing?
I was gonna bring up actually that we just I did a comic earlier in the year from a little group in New York area, Lucky 33, and they just finally put out their first comic, New Luminaries, and it's like a really fun, silly, like it's like a genre blend because they wanted to pull like video games and superheroes and like Power Rangers and like high fantasy stuff and just like blend it all into one story. And it's like, so it's like all these different, like you got like, it's like a superhero city, but there's like a Power Ranger that lives there, and there's like a guy that has a magic sword, and so like it's pretty cool. And so we just released the first issue earlier this year, and we're working on issue 2, and we actually just released. We partnered with Rootless Coffee. The New Luminaries. Is that the?
Oh, okay, that was the name of it.
That was the New Luminaries #1 was the first issue. Yep, and then #2. It's gonna be, I think, 7 issues total, somewhere around there. Every issue varies in size, so pages like the first issue was truly more of like a double issue. So that way we could get it's kind of like an hour-long pilot episode.
That's like our first Seer Chronicles.
Yeah, it's not a bad way to kind of kick off the series. So I think technically it's like 8 issues really. But we just partnered with Rootless Coffee and made a new Luminaries coffee, which is called the Brew Luminaries. Yeah, that just released just before Halloween at rootlesscoffee.com, and it's really, really good coffee.
I'm curious.
It's got like a chocolatey berry taste to it.
Oh, actually, I can actually put the link in the description if people want to check that out. So,
I'm curious. Where can you get
Rootless Coffee?
Oh, sorry. I think there's like lag, and I'm just like interrupting. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's okay. Rootlesscoffee.com. I think it's like /partners. It's under like they have like their normal coffee that they sell, and then they have like partnerships where they have like they've partnered with like a wrestler, like a local wrestler. They've partnered with like other like businesses, and then this is their first like comic book partnership, because one of the co-owners is one of my friends, and he's a comic book writer, and so he's been like itching to do a like an actual comic book coffee. So it's pretty cool.
I'm curious. Where New Luminaries? Where can you find that? The first issue.
That is actually at lucky33comics.com.
Oh, okay.
And I think I have it on my website as well, on jrcomicart.com.
I can put that link in the description too, so if people want to like check that out when this is actually like on YouTube.
Yeah, no, totally. They there's the two writers, Alex and Corey are the two writers, and then we have Mo and Neil, who are a couple of the editors, and then we actually have a letter. DC Hopkins did the lettering, and it's cool because DC's actually done some work for like on Teen Titans books and whatnot. So it was exciting to work with someone who's got some experience under their in their portfolio. So it was a lot of fun to work on, and it is like, I mean, like everybody's kind of got that energy of like kind of like Scott Pilgrim or even Edgar Wright films, like very, very fun and snappy dialogue, but like there are the straight characters, because I think one big critique I have of like when you have a lot of goofy, silly dialogue, snappy dialogue, like you don't want every single character in the book to all be like that. And so
you need your straight man. You always need your Porky Pig.
Exactly, and that's what one of the main characters, Marissa, she is kind of the straight man of the group, where she's like an ex-superhero, and so she's just like, leave me alone, I don't want anything to do with this. And then all of a sudden a giant metal Birdman like appears in her apartment, and he's like a well-known villain, and so she's just like, oh, I gotta fight, so yeah, so it's really cool. And there's like in-world ads in the comic book itself. So like we actually had another artist draw up like silly ads of like I think there's like the Lil Luminaries camp, and it's basically like kid superheroes that they go to like a summer camp, and there's like, I think you see like one character that's like the Human Torch. It's a kid on fire like flying in the distance. Like it is so funny. Like it's got that really quirky kind of fun humor to it, but there's a really good like heart and story kind of underneath it, and so I'm excited to continue this one.
That's cool.
I like that. It sounds really cool.
Is there anything else you did this year?
Yeah, I know that we had the Heavens Decoded Kickstarter earlier this year. Heavens Decoded being the sci-fi comic I worked on with Ronnie Lescouflair, and we ran that. Gosh, when did that end? I think in May. August. We it was delivered. Yes, the Kickstarter itself was funded. Yeah, it was funded. Yeah. We hit our goal in May, and then it got delivered in August. Yeah, and I think everybody's got their stuff. And
he just messaged me saying something about masks and stuff. He's like, "Where do those go?" I'm like, "All the physical backers." Like,
oh yeah, okay. So there's still some stuff. It was a big Kickstarter. We had we had posters and T-shirts and stickers.
I just when I sent all that other stuff today. Well, not today. When we're recording this, it's the same day. But when I sent it, I sent the two things that I had to send for Heavens Decoded. So ink and scales I sent. And then I have to send Seer Chronicles 1 and 2. So I'm just waiting for the first one to get done. So by the time this episode is out, that should be almost done. Luke just sent me a page of like one of the main characters getting mugged. So, you can't mug a guy that's got rock skin. But so
You can try.
You can try.
yeah, you can. And there's a little hidden thing for the characters, but their faces are covered, but I think their names are mentioned. So one of them is Hector, and the other one is Dylan from Creepy Trees. And then there's a third masked guy, and that's Luke. Because I'm like, you could be the third guy. He's like, oh, okay. So I'm like, yeah, you're gonna beat the shit out of a superhero guy. So on purpose, like it's for a reason. But they're not bad. It's just yeah. So speaking of that,
You got to read the book to find out.
Exactly. So speaking of that, issue 1 of the remastered Seer Chronicles, which is going to be like 50 something pages. That includes the cover and stuff. It's 47 pages inside. Yeah. That's we don't have the newspaper like we do in issue 2. At issue 2 and on, we're gonna have it like intro, like 2 intro pages, which is our newspaper, the Daily Journal. And we have like Easter egg stuff sometimes in that. Actually, most of it is like Easter egg stuff. The one that's in issue 2, there's a thing that's actually mentioned in the newspaper that's going to happen in the video game.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Cool tie-in.
actually, there's a couple things that are going to happen. But one of them is just related to Matt's cat character that he has. Yeah, Marbles the cat. And then there's little world building. And then there's a coupon code that for the 3 people that listen to this, there's a coupon code that actually connects to another person's comics universe that's on our platform. Gavin, he has the Stone Legacy, and he's finishing that up, I think. And that will probably be like on when Nova Nation actually is launched and stuff. It won't be under Nova Nation. It'll just be regular, like other people's digitally. But there's a coupon code, and you type that in on our website. You can get a shirt for his burger joint that he has. That's also in our universe. It's where any Burger King is. His burger restaurant is at. So, yeah, it's pretty cool. It's like Ground Zero Burger or something like that. So it's got some nuclear burger. I don't know. It's like a really hot burger.
What's the laws? Something only needs to be 20% different to be legally distinct from an entity, so you don't copyright infringe. Oh, really? Yeah, it's like it has to literally be 20% different. So it's like, well, I opened my Burger Queen restaurant. Ronald's.
Yeah, we have all those like fake companies and stuff that are going to be in our game and stuff. Speaking of that,
Space.
Without getting too into that, our video game is supposed to come out again this year. Like it was supposed to come out last year, but we couldn't fit it in like all of the things that we were doing this year. And Scott, the guy that's working on our game, he got sick and stuff. Not COVID. He got sick, and I guess he was telling me that he's not getting all the vitamins he's supposed to be getting like a normal person, because he's after working every day, he doesn't want to cook. He just eats like frozen dinners, which aren't good for you. Well, look at me, I'm fat, but like so he's just eating like frozen dinners, and like you don't really get vitamins from that apparently, like all of the vitamins you need. And he doesn't go outside that much. He already looks pale, like he lives in a cave. And then where his computer is, where he works on the video game, is in a basement. So it's just like, yeah, he doesn't get like sunlight really. So, but he's fixing that. And then I'm like, yeah, I'm going to need like something new from the video game for our Comic-Con. He's like, oh, okay. But that's going to finally be out.
The fact that this game has been constantly delayed is the true sign of a video game.
What?
The fact that your game's been delayed so many times is the true sign that it's a video game in the making.
Exactly. We'll just
it's
release
a real
like,
thing.
one,
Yeah.
we'll release one mission and then everything else is DLC now.
There you go. No, live
Oof.
service.
That's too real. That's too real.
And, yeah, it's sponsored by EA Games now.
Jeez.
Oh,
I
God.
actually talked to Scott for like an hour or two, like last year, I think, and I'm like, oh, then we should add this and this and this and this, and then Dylan's like, why are you asking for all this sports stuff? You don't even like sports. I'm like, I don't know, it'd be kind of cool to add, like, because Grand Theft Auto has like golf, which I'm actually really good at in that game, but yeah, we're gonna have like hockey and stuff like in the game eventually. We're gonna have
But
football.
why though?
Just so it's more of a world that I don't know. I don't like sports, but like other people like sports, so
It's like
thing.
you
It's
gotta
a
be
different thing that you can do in the game when you're like free roaming. You can play like sport, some kind of sport or something.
yeah, you got to be careful with that because you don't want to end up becoming blitzball.
To what?
Exactly. Final Fantasy X. There's this whole side plot called Blitzball, which was this in-game soccer thing that you played underwater, and it was just an ass and a half to play.
Oh,
And
yeah,
like you have to do certain missions around it, and it's like, oh god, I really don't want to play Blitzball.
but when I was asking him what sport would be easiest to do in a game to like program, and he's like, actually, you can't really do basketball because there's actually a lot of math that goes into that. I was like, really? And he's like, yeah, you got to like actually like figure out the ball hitting the ground. I was like, oh my god, I didn't even think about that. Yeah. So like the easiest thing is like I think boxing, and I was like, oh, that's kind of good because there's a boxer character that's like one of our superheroes.
Well, there you
So
go.
that kind of works out.
Yeah. Have it
What's
tied into
that,
the world. You know.
What's that Canadian game again? The one you would throw a stone in the ice and try to get it into the center?
Canada.
Curling.
Oh, curling.
Oh,
I wonder how
Did you
difficult
just say
curling is.
Canada?
it's just called
Oh, Canada. But
called,
no, I'm thinking
sorry.
like, how difficult would curling be to program?
It's called sorry.
Jesus Christ.
Trust me, with the Canadians, I know no one's sorry for anything.
Oh, damn.
No, as a Canadian, we're sorry for you.
There you
I
go.
make fun of Canadians. I'm kind of Canadian. I'm not from there. But yeah.
All we do is make fun of Americans, so don't worry about it.
Yeah, that's fine.
Please
I make fun of
continue.
people make fun of Chuck for being Canadian. Pinot.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, what'd you have for dinner? Maple syrup?
Fuck yeah. Make some pancakes, slap some maple syrup, Nutella on it. Best shit ever.
Nutella's good.
Yeah. Wait, Josh, are you Canadian?
I am not.
He's very
okay.
close to
Yeah,
I'd say I'm in Michigan. I'm next door.
Okay.
No,
Close
Nutella's pretty popular here. So
The first time I ever had Nutella was actually my French class, and they're like, let's put this on a croissant. And so I put it on a croissant, and I was like, oh my god, this is amazing.
Yeah, I don't know. Some of them actually have the Nutella already in.
Oh, yeah.
Nutella-filled, yeah.
There's one that's in Lake Placid that has Nutella in their croissant already. I'm like, this is amazing.
Give me all of them.
So, so if you guys don't mind, I wouldn't mind talking a little bit about what I've been working on this year before we finish up.
Yeah, go for it. So,
as many of you know, I am, the one or two people who watch the podcast. I do write Zenith Nights, and I've mentioned it, but I've never really talked about it. Right now, we just put out our third issue, and I feel like the plot's really starting to move along. Zenith Nights is a world where the Knights are the world's premier superhero team. There's people, there's huge organizations that help. How do I put this? Manage people with abilities. There's people who are taking advantage of the situation, and the team that we're following are more of a first response team, a team put together to help newly emerging threats, compared to a bunch of other people in the organization who are more like celebrities, who are more like really out there. And right now, the story of Zenith Knights is also kind of what happens when you put superheroes up against horror monsters. It's taken a while to get there, but we're finally getting there. We're starting to get to our villain, and that's what we're seeing in issue 3. And that's why I loved sharing some of the promotional stuff during Halloween, because I was like, yes, I'm finally getting to put my monster out there. And I can't wait until he's further developed, until you actually start seeing why he's doing what he's doing, and no one's going to see it coming. I guarantee it.
That's cool.
So I've been working on that for the last year, and I've been having a blast. It's issue 3 of 10, and once issue 4 is done, we're putting it together as a collection. And aside from that, what I'm working on right now is trying to do some promotions. I have just a few things I want to put on my Instagram right now, and just some good
Like breaking up.
bias.
Did we lose Peter?
Oh, it's all of us. Can you?
Is it?
You like
and just to finish up, I am writing a new project. Yeah. I am writing a new project right now, and if all goes well, the production will start next year. And if all goes well with that, we'll have some new issues by the end of 2022.
It's cool.
So, fingers crossed, it's going to be my high fantasy action movie series. It's going to be a blast.
Sounds cool.
Talk more about
This
once
episode
it's started.
This episode actually comes out the day before Thanksgiving, so cool. And
Happy Thanksgiving.
yeah, and it also is coming out before our Comic-Con, and during the Comic-Con, I'm actually going to be we're putting together a video that has a couple teasers of different things that are coming out that we're releasing. So I kind of can't really say anything that we're doing next year. But like I said, the video game is supposed to come out this year, and it didn't. But yeah, and then there's Seer Chronicles 1 should be finished by the time the Comic-Con is over with, and it'll be shipping in December. And then we're going to be promoting 1 and 2 next year. That's basically what we're going to be promoting, along with a couple other things that I don't want to mention right now. But Josh is the artist on one of these things that I don't want to mention yet. But if you do tune into the Comic-Con, you'll be like, what's that? Be like, exactly.
And I think you also have some of my concept art for my next project in the Comic-Con.
Yep.
Nice.
So there's like, and I want other people to share stuff too. So yeah. And then Nova Nation is actually gonna actually be launched next year. So there's that. And hopefully finally make money on the platform, because I would like to not be at my job anymore.
And I would like to start getting money from this too.
Exactly.
I think we'd all like to get more money.
Yeah. And Dylan's got another thing in the works that he's been doing. I did get an email saying, since nothing was, I think because the website is not actually open yet, there's like a certain website that he's making with this girl that we kind of like partnered with in a way or something. It's like an affiliate kind of website, but it also has like stuff from us. So there'll be like a Medallion Comics shirt, but within that there's Marvel and DC and other things, and it's like Amazon affiliate kind of thing. So if you go to that website, you'll be able to, I don't know if I was supposed to talk about that, but I did get an email that I just saw like last night, and it's like, oh, we're going to close your store in like 20 something days if you don't get a sale. And I'm like, what? So I had to tell him.
Speaking of Amazon, issues 1, 2, and soon to be issue 3 of Zenith Knights are all available for purchase on Amazon via Kindle.
Nice.
Yeah. You can even get issue 1 free with if you have Kindle Direct or Kindle Express. I forget the term.
That's cool.
Yeah. Well, that's it. What happened was like Comixology shut down and everything's been moved over to Kindle, which is going to be good and bad. I'm assuming it's going to have a much broader audience in general.
Cool.
Yeah, that's probably what they're trying to do.
Our website's better, but I say that any single time someone mentions Comixology. I'm like, oh, well, we actually care about people. But they don't promote comics. Like they don't
promote indie comics.
Yeah, they promote like Marvel and stuff all the time. Like, oh, you can get Spider-Man. Like, you can get that in the comic book store. Like,
I'm very much in the mindset, like, I really enjoyed Marvel and DC growing up, but after reading comics for years and realizing nothing ever changes and the characters always return to a status quo, it's just hard to continue with it. You know, I'd rather read a short series that actually has a beginning, middle, and end. It's why manga is actually overtaking a lot of the Western comic industry, is that these are complete stories. They go somewhere, they have a moral, they end, then you move on to the next one.
That's actually... So Catalyst Comics Studio, they have a podcast. I almost said Comics and Beards. That's their Twitter. Beards and Comics Podcast. That's one of the indie comic podcast things I listen to at work. And they mentioned the thing about trying to finish one series and then moving on to the next instead of going all over the place. And we're doing that right now. We're going all over the place. There's like Seer Chronicles, then there's like Scales and whatever else. So what I actually want to do is kind of finish one of the like series that we have, like one of the plot arcs, and I'm going to be doing that at least with 2 different comics. There's going to be Ink, and there's going to be the comic that I'm not mentioning, but Josh is part of. So, like each year, I want to like release one after the other, so people don't have to wait forever.
Well, that's the thing, though. Your series can be long. But as long as there's an end in sight, it's good.
So Seer Chronicles, it like the first plot arc technically is 12 issues, but you can split it, and there's one plot arc within the 2. There's 2 within the one giant plot arc. The main plot arc, and then the one that has like the one villain or 2, they end at like issue 6. And then from 7 to 12 is like the main thing, like comes like forefront, and you just basically deal with that. So there's just that one story going on mostly, while the other things are like we're just like building out these villains in the beginning, kind of like Gotham, and then the main story actually like starts like there.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say was the whole manga thing. I completely agree. Like, I personally like stopped reading Marvel and DC stuff, or commonly, just so I could read shorter stories with more interesting characters. But that's just
I only read indie comics, and it's not because I'm, well, maybe that one of the reasons is because I make them too, but I just like them because I think they're better now.
It's more raw storytelling and creativity.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You know what's another good type of comics that are coming out right now? Korean webcomics, of all things.
Mm-hmm.
And let me just explain quickly because it is a little weird. But there's these series that are coming out, and like webtoons, where it's like one page after the next. And these are comics that are, a lot of them are coming out of Korea, and I will read them, and they're really high quality art. They look really nice, and the webtoons format is actually really interesting. It's an interesting read, and these are people who are updating weekly, and a lot of these are free to read. And sometimes you can have like ridiculous storylines, like one's about a skeleton soldier who just keeps being reborn, and keeps bringing all of his stats with them. A lot of them use like video game logic. Another one is about a girl who's in love with a demon queen and wants to make her girlfriend, so she keeps trying to beat her in a fight. But what I'm getting at is that you get a lot of variety in these things, and that you just keep getting new stories that actually go somewhere, and they plan an end. They're not going to go on forever. Whereas people have been reading Spider-Man for like almost 60 years. We get it. Peter, and just to say, like, and when characters do have evolution, we'll just use magic to wipe that away.
I actually do have an end for all of my series.
Good.
So move on, but like I don't. but it's going to take forever to get there anyway. So unless if like magically we get $1 million, and I'm like, we can do all these, and then like just put them out like you know, one after the other without like worrying.
Be like One Piece in that it's been going on forever, but even the creator says, yeah, we're about like 70% through the story that's planned.
Yeah, because like
Jesus,
the Seer Chronicles 3 isn't even coming out next year. I'm waiting like a year because things, and I already have things planned out next year, and 3 is coming out in 2023, and then 4 might come out the year after that. It depends, because what our thing is for all of our comics, or at least that series, is since it's our flagship title, it connects with our video game. So we have to go in the video game and go to certain locations that the story takes place in, and we have to use like certain locations. Be like, here, Luke, you have to draw this, and he's like,
oh, cross-platform.
Yeah.
Well, I look forward to seeing it when it's ready.
Yeah, I'm so glad that it's almost done.
Yeah, if we all had $1 million, right?
Comic-Con. Oh, God, yes.
Comic-Con.
That'll be fun.
The Comic-Con will be fun. So, yeah. Happy Thanksgiving.
My Thanksgiving was last month, so.
Well, not happy Thanksgiving to you then.
Yeah, but I got some really good pumpkin pie out of that. It was great.
Ugh.
Yum.
Freaking best.
Oh, apple
Good
pie.
stuff.
Apple and basically like any. I've never had pecan pie.
Rhubarb. Rhubarb pie is really good.
If you're watching this on
Rhubarb is
YouTube,
good.
comment what's your favorite pie.
And make sure to say pumpkin because Greg doesn't like pumpkin.
No, it's not pumpkin. That's not. No, I like pumpkin
Everyone said
everything else, but for some reason I don't like pumpkin pie. Maybe it's the consistency or something. But
Oh my god, you sound so white.
my grandma was eating pizza yesterday. It wasn't spicy at all, but she's like, "Oh my god, it's so spicy! It's pizza. It's
Who
spicy."
doesn't eat pizza?
And it's not like there's a
Spicy
pepper on
pizza?
anything, because there's like certain spices. But you know how like there's jokes of like just white people don't even like black pepper because she's like, it's so spicy. And I'm like, no, it's not.
It's really not.
No, it's just pizza. Okay.
No, well, like at a certain age, it's just harder to process that stuff. Like my dad, he's like very careful with what he eats now.
Yeah, like I'm 30 years old, and now I always have to take Tums.
Oh yeah,
Never
I'm
had
30
to do
years
that.
old, and I'm going to a chiropractor now because I sit too long in chairs, and it causes problems in my back.
I feel like if I actually said that to a guy at work, I'm like, if I went to a chiropractor, I think all I would hear is like, because like my neck and back are so weird that like I can just I probably can't hear that, but like sometimes I crack my neck and my brother's like, you're gonna like snap your neck, and I'm like, shh, just let it happen.
Go to a chiropractor.
One day, man.
Just one day.
Chiropractors
Yeah, I've never
are
been
good.
to a chiropractor, but I think like someone would like cry in the waiting room. They're like, what is happening?
So, from what I understand, once you hit 30s, do you guys remember the movie Osmosis Jones?
Yeah.
Basically, everything in that city just starts falling apart, and like everyone betrays you. The politicians go 100% corrupt, and just everything falls apart. That's what happens when you turn 30.
I wouldn't be like Bill Murray in
Oh
that.
my
Just
God.
eat an egg that's fallen on the. Oh, that's disgusting.
Yo,
That's how we got like
Oh,
that
God,
virus.
it's so gross.
Can we agree though that virus design, the villain design from Osmosis Jones, that was such a good.
Oh yeah,
design.
that's really cool. Yeah,
The one long finger. I'm like, damn, that is good.
I would do a comic series of something like that. Not that, but like something like that. would be
Well,
pretty
there was a cartoon that ran for a while of Osmosis
Yeah.
Jones. It wasn't half bad.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
There's a manga that's very similar to that too.
Oh, really?
It's very different tone, but yeah, it's the same idea of like the inner body and shit. Yeah,
You know
very interesting.
what cartoon based off a movie was really good?
What?
Power
Godzilla.
Rangers. Oh, Godzilla. I was like,
So-
Power Rangers? I don't know.
My God.
Do you guys
I
remember
never thought about that.
the North American Godzilla movie they made like back in the 2000s, like early 2000s? It had a direct sequel that was a cartoon, where that picked up right after where the movie left off, and even the Japanese like it. It's a legitimately good Godzilla cartoon. It's a Monster of the Week show.
Hector and Dylan made me want to watch
I love
newest
that.
like Godzilla movies and King Kong, and I actually like them because like
Oh, yeah.
when I saw the King Kong with Jack Black, like I was like falling asleep in the theater, and it was like just such a long movie to me, and I don't even know how long it actually was. But like I had a large popcorn and I ate 2 of those. And I was like, this is why I'm fat.
I never got through that one, but the newer one wasn't half bad.
No, the Skull Island was like great, and
him versus Godzilla was pretty good.
yep.
And then Mecha Godzilla, obviously, because you always have a third party.
But
Oh,
Oh, of course.
one more. The Men in Black cartoon. Did you guys ever watch that?
yeah,
Oh God, yeah.
That was good.
that was the reason why I wanted a pug.
Because of Men in Black.
And then we had
This
like
is
2
Frank.
pugs for a while.
Oh my
I
God.
didn't name it Frank though. No, one was
Oh,
called
man.
Peyton, and the other one was called Slugger. I'm like, oh, I don't know where you guys got these names from.
I just wish we'd get more movie adaptations that weren't Marvel cartoons.
Oh my God. Okay, just
It'd be nice.
did you know that one of the things that was released during Disney Plus Day was the X-Men show from the 90s is coming back?
Oh, I heard about that.
So
Yeah, I
wonder
heard
if
about
the
that too.
same
Yeah.
animation is going to be on that and stuff.
If they bring back the same soundtrack, I will be happy.
Yeah.
That's all I want. Bring back the original voice actors too. I just want that like old school Wolverine.
Yeah.
But I wonder if it'll be like a direct sequel or like a time skip sequel, like 20 years later.
They could do anything with it.
I haven't watched it in forever, but like I still like the theme song is amazing. So,
Yeah, that series holds up. It is a really solid series, and let's hope they don't fuck it up. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, seriously.
All right. How much
Cool.
time
Happy
we have left?
Thanksgiving
happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving to you guys.
If you
to us. Yeah.
tune in to the Comic-Con. That's the 26th to the 28th. It starts at I thought it was 1 p.m., but I think it's noon my time, Eastern. So, and then Sunday is when we're drinking and being stupid at the end. And then there's at the end of every day there's like a fireside chat, so it's just like a hangout thing, I guess. That's on the schedule that he put there. I was like, oh, what is that? He's like, oh, people just like hang out. I'm like, oh, okay. Except on the Saturday is somebody's like show that they're doing. That show that I was on for Chronicles of Horror, the last thing I was on. I was like sitting there, like I didn't know what I was doing. Then they made fun of the way I said horror. Like, do you mean horror? And I'm like, no, like the genre. And they're like, oh, you said it weird. And I was like, oh, okay. I'm tired.
It's usually I say horror. Like if they want to make sure you hear me.
Horror.
Matt says it weird too, but it's just his voice in general. Like, Chronicles of Horror. I'm like, what the fuck?
Horror.
Yeah.
Horror.
How?
Horror.
Wow.
I say horror,
Horrors.
but like they don't hear the other OR.
Chronicles of Horrors.
It's gonna be a variant.
Now that one would sell.
Yeah, it probably would.
Chronicles of Horror.
So I'll end it. Thanks for coming on.
See you in the next year. Bye.